Yeah, we're going to the next country. It's Peru. It's too fast. Yeah, completely different. It looks when we have a look to the biggest company there, Stingray Aquarium. It's a really big exporting company, the biggest in whole Peru. And yeah, it looks completely different. They have their own small trucks to transport the fish. Uh, these two vehicles we have used to come to there. And this is the office building. Here are some basins under this sunroof, and with these boxes, the fishermen bring the fish to them. It's really incredible. They are maybe so 2 to 3 inches high, not really high, and they put just some kind of plastic bag in it, but it's not a really bag. It's more a flattened piece of plastic, and then they keep the fish in there. So if you have fish like maybe a quinitzicler, we had some quinitzicler with this diameter. It was really incredible to transport them because we have to put them all the time a little bit water on it, and it works not well. Yeah.
They're outside. They don't have any predators like we have raccoons that get to them.
That not, but these sunroofs here are also to help against predatory birds.
Oh, sorry.
That's mostly there the problem. Yeah, when you have 1, 2, 3. Sometimes I will speak too fast to bring too many information in 1 minute, and so sorry for this. For that, the packing station is also really interesting. It looks highly professional. Even in Germany, I don't have seen often such a good packing station. here several filtration systems for the water, air supply, and anything what you need for a real good packing of the fish. That was really impressive and never expected that in Peru. Yeah, here's some more closer look to these basins. They usually larger quantities of fish put in there, keep them, check for quarantine and so on, before then bring them in the tank. This is one of the tank halls there, and it's also interesting how they built it. Here in the background, you can see a big basin. There they pump all the day fresh, clean water in it, and then you can see it here. They bring the water from this basin by gravity to the tanks. That they have all the time fresh water for the water exchange, because they often have power losses there. And if they need electric power to bring the water to the tanks, they can often don't make any water change because it's not supplied. So yeah, they're doing that in that way. You can see here it goes directly to every tank, and to drain, they have here some kind of channels in the floor, so all the water just goes to the floor. Please don't call it to your wife when you have similar plans. Maybe you can get in trouble. But okay, you can explain, yeah, I just want to clean the floor. You have to do it in the whole house, so I think it's not a good idea.
I saw it on a slide.
Yeah, this bad guy from Germany told it. But please, start tomorrow or one day later with it, then I'm far away. Then I get in trouble. Yeah, they have also really interesting corridors. Carsten Schöne, a friend of mine, was with us, and he is a corridor freak. This is Orchisi or this C92 are also really not so really fast spread corridors. This basins we have seen also in the houses of the fishermen. They have them also sometimes. Yeah, also some more placos. This placo in Hypercistus, I was really thinking about buying it, because it's usually it's dark with light bands. But they have told me, yeah, I can buy it, but it's $120. And for a fish in Peru, I think I won't pay that much, because the typical Hypercistus is so not the rarest one, around $10, and that price was incredibly high. So there was no chance. But at least also these two really nice pinacolos, they have also really good fish there. Yeah, you've heard before.
So could you go back to the previous slide? Can you go backward? So for perspective on the price of that fish, the two fish on top right, if you were in that same store, they'd be about $4 each. Because it's a wholesaler, not a retailer. So if they're charging 100 and something for that bottom one, that's really expensive.
Yeah. But I think it came from Brazil. It was smuggled from Brazil. At least that explains the higher price, but not that high. I think 20, 30 bucks I would have paid for it, but not over 100. Yeah, this is another exporter there. It's Aquario Latawampa. Also the sign is more handmade, and it shows he's a smaller exporter. Also, I really like his office. It's absolutely nice. Sitting there outside, have your telephone with you and work on your desk, have some nice air around you. It's not as high, as much heat there as expected. It was around in the Celsius, so I think around 28 to 30, I think in the high 80s here. So not so far away like I've seen here. Nothing like Vegas with 110 or whatever. And it's really good to sit there, and there's a little bit more humidity in the air, and so it's good when you have the fresh air, some wind around, and it's pretty nice. In this job, you can see also these channels. That is really fast spread there. They have the channels in the bottom that they can really easy empty the tank in just draining the water to the floor, and then it's going to the channel and going away. These boxes are also really, really common. They have lots of them for autosinkles and other smaller fish. Put a quantity of maybe 50 or 100 in them, and so they can make their also easily fast water changings, and it works well. You see here many, many more of them, especially when some fishermen came. They need urgently fast some space for the fish before they later come to the tanks. Yeah, they also documented then something about the pH, the source where the fish are from. I haven't asked for all details, but I think this is for sure something about the pH. It's not so high, so 5.0 to 5.4. So it's okay, it's a nice pH. This apistogramma ortegae, it's called in former times was called papagayo or what's parrot? Is parrot papagayo? Parrot?
I don't know how that translates.
Okay, okay. So it's just you know aga? This is a red bird with
Here.
parrot. Yeah, parrot. Yeah. Okay. So it's common like that because of the coloration. In the moment, it's also really good in the hobby available. I think here it should be also available. Yeah, so again, some more corridoras. I've told you, Carsten is a corridoras freak. Semi-aquilis or equus is really common. Also aquatus or acutus or CV79. Yeah, then we come to Martin Mortenthaler. Unfortunately, he passed away some years ago. He's original from Austria, has moved to Peru, and unfortunately, he has adapted the way of life there really good. So yeah, he was able to do much more than he has done. So I was really sad because his options worked perfectly. This is his installation. It's pretty nice. You go in this room, see that small door, go through the door, and then you are in a kind of a heaven. Can look around. Here you see the big tanks, a lot of these boxes here, some smaller tanks. They have he's bred some angelfish, some apistogramma. But most important were these big tanks. There will be around 11,000 liters. That is 2,000, yeah, 2,000 gallons. So it's really great, and it's really easy build. Just build some walls, leave here a gap for the glass screen. So you just need two larger screens of glass for the tanks that I can see what is inside the tank and what happens there. But in total, really cheap build. In the tanks, he has some panacolos. He just takes a piece of wood, drilled a big hole in it, and put here a piece of wood at the end, so it's on one side closed. Easy to build such caves. I never tried it, but I think it's not a really bad idea. And the fish likes the wood, can sitting in the cave, eat some wood, and unfortunately, from day to day, the caves are getting bigger and bigger, and sometimes you have to exchange them because they are too large for them. Interesting was also his water supply. He just take by a pump the groundwater, has pumped it here in this basin, but first he had problems with some peroxide that is falling down in the tank. He had really this reddish stuff in the tanks. And then he started to build this cascade of boxes with filter mats in it. And that was enough. That has helped to bring enough of this stuff out that he has just clean water in the tank. It was really simple, but works well. Also, this is, of course, much higher, that he can bring the water by gravity to the single tanks. His water changing in the big tanks, yeah. You know, you have to clean your tanks. Maybe you need use other tools like him, but yeah, it works well, and it's not so really hard work for him. He have also some overflows between these tanks, so he first drain all the tanks and then just hang. You can see here how he is drain all the tanks. And at the end of the day, here's also this a small kind of barrier. I miss a word. Kind of lid with some holes grill. Yeah, thanks. In it that the fish don't be sucked outside and the water goes away, and then he just put this small hose or hose pipe. There's a hose, here's pipe, so pipe hose on it, and because of these overflows, you just put it on in the evening, and in the morning, all tanks are really full of water. So pretty easy, and yeah, he has realized the Peruvian way of life. Yeah, it works well. And he spawns there also fish like Sulacanticus L452. It's a dark Sulacanticus with white dots, and usually Sulacanticus, but we will see it later. Yeah, he's some discus, some Carnegiella, some Pyrolina, and many other fish. Yes, in this installation, I don't want to explain them all in detail. Of course, he has also real fish like these pretty nice Panacolos. Yeah, he has really a huge amount of different Panacolos there that has made me really happy. Interesting was it also with these ones. He has caught them all in the Rio Nanai it was. It was funny, he got them as youngsters of half an inch size and hasn't realized that they were all different species. When they grow out, he got this selection of fish. I'm not sure if he is really right that they were also really from the same place, but it's really surprising because never expected to get all these fish together on one place. But at least I was able to give them a new L number, because we have known this before as Panacolos species Peru 1. This is Panacolos Peru 2. No, at least they got an L number from me, and we have them at least in the L number system. Yeah, he is born there also, this Sulacanticus 452, and you maybe have heard that Sulacanticus, the youngsters, can be really aggressive, and you get big losses when you raise them up in too small tanks. In his 2,000-gallon tank, it was not a big deal. There were 1,000 or 1,500 youngsters, and it was no problem to raise them up there. I've heard from many people they've tried it in much smaller tanks, and sometimes they lost all of them. Usually it works when you don't have more than maybe 20 to 30 in a 100-liter tank. That is 10, 20, 25? Around, so roughly divided by 4. Okay. So in around a 25-gallon tank, not more than 20 or 30 youngsters, then mostly it can work. Because the youngsters are really aggressive against each other, hurt each other, and yeah, it mostly ends not fine.
Question? So if Martin is deceased, what happened to his fish operation?
I'm not sure. I've heard one of his sons or stepsons is now in charge, but I'm not sure if it really good works and in which way it works. I don't have any contact. Maybe I should ask sooner or later Hans Evers, because he was really close with Martin, and hopefully he knows a little bit more. Yeah, let's go to the eastern neighbor of Peru, to Brazil. And this was, in my opinion, what we see now is the smallest fish keeping installation that I've ever seen. It's directly in front of the house of a fisherman. It's perfectly built, also camouflaged, you can't see it. Now, he's just blocks of wood, and there he catches a discus, and he keeps all the discus therein until any buyer is coming to him and is asking for the fish. Then he takes them out by a net, shows them, and okay, then the buyer says, okay, I buy this, and then he puts them again back to the river in this box. You don't have to make any water changings, because there are always small gaps in it, so the water is going through. And it's a perfectly installation. Unfortunately, at least in Germany, we can't do it in that way because the water is much too cold to do this. Maybe here, I'm not sure if it can work here, but unfortunately, you can't see the fish. So it don't help if you want to have a show tank. Yeah, another installation from Abel, the fisherman of a friend of mine. He has started here installation when I was there in 2016. Unfortunately, he hasn't finished it until now, but it was really interesting to see when you have a look to all these cables. Everything was the perfect angle. Never expected a quality like that in Brazil. It was really in a small village, and never expected that there were people able to work in this quality. Even in Germany, sometimes I see poor quality of people that working for that, and wow, that was really crazy. But it wasn't finished until now. But I can show you part of his former installation. This is also pretty nice. Just use put some net, put the fish in, put it in the river, and yeah, also good water changing for larger fish like a larger plecos, no problem. Also these boxes here, he's made a kind of filter, just put it by a stronger pump here in the top. There's some little bit more material, the higher surface to clean the water, and then it was going back to the tank. He's also kind of show tank, maybe not so perfectly from the community there in angelfish and so on. The tank was maybe this size to this, so not perfect, but he was so proud of it. And I don't want to tell him that's so bad what you're doing. So I can't say anything, sorry. Yeah, also another fish shop in Roraima, Aquarius Paraíso. Really, really nice. A lot of different stuff, like this kind of paludarium. They have also real ornamental fish, like this gourami, but also fish from their place. And interesting was, it's really good when you go with a wife to buy fish. She can go to the hairdresser and you can buy fish in the meantime. So those are really happy about it. Yeah, I try to speed up a little because I think we have we are not so good in the time, but I can show you as much as possible. This is Alde Sea, Shrimp Aquarium. He's Asian-based, I think Japanese-based, I'm not really sure. And this is one of the installation in Altamira that is tear down because of the dam. There was a whole street, Rua Pescaria, where all the export station had their facilities. But because they have built the dam and then have said all houses have to be teared down here, because it's then in the reservoir, we don't want to have them there. And the government was so nice to offer them some other grounds, I think 5 or 10 kilometers far away from the river. And it's really helpful when you need much of water changings and don't have any access to the water of the river. Because in former times they just had here, this is the backside of the house, here's the river, they just take a pump and pump the water from the river up to the house and can make easily water changings. What I found really interesting is, never thought about it, that's a really cheap and easy way to build tanks. Just take some tiles, take some silicone, and you just need one front. Because yes, many bigger fish like Sudacanticus and other ones that can hurt each other, so that it was important to keep them in separately in single tanks, not with other together, because when they have damaged fins, no one want to buy them or don't pay the right prices. But it was really easy, never thought about it, just seen in there, and yeah, I think it's a clever option. Yeah, these biscatters are really common in Brazil. I think nearly every export station, every fisherman has several of them. That's really typical. This installation, Aquario Pitti, is still alive. It's directly at the beach of Altamira. I was there some years ago with my friend Leandro and Walter Lechner. And but it's really similar. A lot of fish, some airs down in. Yeah, Leandro was really critical looking about the filter. It's really funny. And also they have these posters about the permitted and not permitted fish, that they know exactly what is possible. Even the zebra pleco is in Brazil for many, many years. I think it's the beginning of the 2000. It's absolutely restricted, forbidden to export them. So also I've seen here on my tour in several shops still wild caught of zebra plecos. They all are illegal. I think if you want to go to the police and say them, they sell illegal fish, maybe they can do anything against it, because it's absolutely forbidden. They are now on CETA's Appendix 2, and so it's worldwide forbidden to sell wild caught of these fish. Just offsprings you're permitted to sell with the right documentation. But otherwise it's not permitted, and many people don't know it. And I hope I will see Leandro sooner or later. We can discuss about it, that he makes maybe in Amazonas or wherever some more, bring some more information about that, so that people know more about it. Yes?
CITES doesn't mean it's restricted, it's just CITES 2 means there's just numbers. Now Brazil may have 0 as their number, but CITES 2 animals, you can bring them out, you just
No.
have to stay with them.
No. It's absolutely strictly forbidden to export them.
From Brazil, because
No,
they
well-
have a 0 number.
Brazil is the only country where they live.
Right, so you can't.
And all of them there in other places are strictly forbidden. They are smuggled, they're illegal.
Right, but what I'm saying is, just because there's CITES Appendix 2, it's Brazil that is restricting them, not CITES.
No, but the CITES organization is worldwide.
Right, but CITES isn't restricting them, Brazil is. I deal with CITES animals all the time.
I think either way, it's
Yeah,
restricted.
but it's, you can't get them, but it's not because
Can't
of
get
Yeah.
one,
CITES.
Yeah.
period. That's it.
Where are these, where are the populations outside of Brazil? Are there certain locations that people?
It's they are just endemic in the Xingu, in Volta Grande, the part that is also endangered by the dam. Nowhere else lives these fish. Just in some tanks to breed, of course, but in the wild, just there. They also tried to brought them to other places in the Xingu area, and it failed. They just live there. And this year, Leandro has also researched for them, and he's made a nice video about it. He hasn't found any more zebra plecos this year. Maybe they are completely extinct, or he was unlucky and hasn't found or hasn't searched on the right places. But last year, he has realized that the population increased a little, but no, again, so many smugglers bring them out of the country that the population is extremely endangered. And that's really sad. And I hope that anyone is doing as much as possible against these people, because they destroy our hobby. And as more this happens, as more the laws will be restrictive, and we can get less fish as now. And that was really sad. So please, no, don't buy any wild caught zebra, because that destroys our hobby. Yeah, I've told you something about Leandro. He is a professor, and we know all professors have much money. And yeah, he's a nice house there. It's directly above the Rio Xingu with a small pond. When you have a look in this pond, you see there some nice granite cichlids, some geophagus, and it's absolutely nice. Here you can see just a little bit of the Rio Xingu in the background, and it's pretty nice hanging there around. When the sun goes down, you have an ice cold beer in your hand. Yeah, sorry.
With the other professors.
Yeah, so professors have a good life. Yeah, this company don't exist anymore. Progetto Arapaima with Janet Ekström. He is now changed to Timfish. It's now a big company in Brazil. At that time, it was maybe the biggest exporter. And I just want to show you a small overview. This is a quarantine area where they also take care for the fish. They have also a lab with microscope and so on that they can really check if there are any diseases on the fish and can decide what meds they want to use to take care for the fish. It's a nice area there in the front of it. Maybe you've heard several plecos have really thorny addiction or add-ons and addictions, and so spines, and they can easily hurt the bags where they are in. And they have found the option: take this foil of plastic, cut it in a form of a cross, and take some duct tape and make a little box of it, put it in the bag, and so they can't break or destroy any more the bags. Works well, so most of them come with bags full of water to year, because in former times when they just use bags, often they will be broken and no more water is in the bag. That helps really good. And yeah, you just need a good idea to handle, and then it works really well. Of course, they sell a lot of fish regularly, so they have a little storage of styrofoam boxes. I was also really surprised about that quantity. That is just a small part. It goes some meters behind there further on, and was really interesting. Yeah, they have also, of course, some stingray in bigger tanks with a little bit stronger filtration, not as usual as here in most tanks. Also in my tanks, I don't have such a big filtration. But they also built some really pretty easy airlifters. Just take a pipe, drill some holes, and yeah, put it on, and yeah, you can see it here. It works really well. Also, for keeping the water level on the same level, they use this. Let's call it a switch. It's usually used in the water box of a toilet to keep the water level on the same. Pretty easy, works well. Also here for the net, put it with some something to disinfect that they don't have bring any bacteria from tank to tank. Yeah, of course, written all the things that they have done, the maintenance stuff on the tank when the fish has arrived, how was the pH or whatever, what medicine they have put in, that everything is directly on the tank, that they can easily decide what we will do next with them. Yeah, and they have, of course, lots of tanks there in different sizes. These are just for single-capped fish, like some piranha and others that easily will hurt each other and destroy the fins. And yeah, it's really interesting to see what different tanks they have. But of course, they have also some fish that I want to show you here. Some golden nugget, viruses for Chantellus. Yeah, some more of them, but also the big Panaki armbrusteri. They will be, this one is, I think, not so big, maybe this size. They can go a little bit taller. Also discus. Yeah, here several Zatanoperca, I think it should be. Or yeah, piranha and other plecos like this Diotoecos. It's really interesting to see. Let's have a look to your northern neighbor. I was there some years ago. I think it was 2017. Spencer Jack from Aficionados. Really cool guy. He has a mixture of wholesaler and retailer shop. And yeah, it's a pretty nice guy. He has his packing room. He has a water plant installation. And I like this black kind of lids here. This is stuff that you use also for greenhouses for the roof and so on, and transparent, you know it. This is just black. It's absolutely great. It's flexible. Here's cut here some gaps in, and so here also, and then you just can turn it turn it off. Have a look in the tank, and let it fall down, and he's done his work. It's light. It's flexible. Can't break easily. So really good. And at least in Canada, absolutely cheap to get. So really good idea. I'm searching for that in Germany, but it's really expensive in Germany. I don't know why. Eric?
Are those light-colored squares Velcro, so when they flip the lid up, it stays open while they're working?
Here are some.
Velcro?
This one, I don't know how it's.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, sometimes I miss some words, but at least I can explain what I mean. Yeah, here's also some bigger show tanks with some really big tetras. Yeah, but also some plackles or some cichlids. Of course, Andreas Tanke shouldn't be missed. The good thing was I given there a talk about Brazilian fish, then explain also something about Andreas Tanke, and then in the talk I was able to say, yeah, if you're interested in this fish, just have a look. It's a second row from the left, the bottom tank. Please have a look on it, and you know you get the chance to buy this fish. And 2 people have bought them, so he was really happy about this. Yeah, some more cichlids, yes, also. Then I've visited Paul Bellinger from Edmonton. He is mostly a Cory guy. He's also often at the catfish convention. They have met him also first time, and he's really clean and not extremely big, but really clean and nice installation. Also use sometimes these external tanks to raise some fish. And especially this fish, the so-called ancestor corridors, at least at that time, they were also really rare, so around depends on $400 or $500 each, and yet I think 6 of them, and I was trying to breed them. I'm not sure if he has finished it in the meantime, but also the toucan or white snani, not the really common corals that he had. He has spawned most of them. But also, of course, other collection of fish he has, live rears, tetras, cichlids. And that was I've seen, and I found it was a really great idea. Microworms. Usually you just have them in a box like this, and has to use your finger or a brush to go here on the corner to get them. He just takes this rubber band in, and they climbed on, and he just took it and he puts it in the tank. Absolutely clean option, simple, and that I like when I have a look in this room. See these small, tiny tricks that are really useful, and he never thought about that this is a good idea, a great idea. I've seen it, thought, cool, never see it. Saves time, and it's easy to handle. Yeah, Charlie Drew, he is one of the well-settled guys there. He is established in Canada many plateaus, so it was also for me really great to meet him. He's, I think, also in the 80s, from the age, not from the temperature. And it's a really typically ground fish room. He started with some tanks, and he found, okay, there's space for one more tank. I think this is space for one more tank. Most of you will know it. Also, the entrance to the stair to his fish room, pretty nice build with this discus there. And that's the typical pleco tanks. Some caves, some slate or whatever on the top. Some more caves. But he's also some swimming fish like Achilles, Cap Lopez or whatever. It's in detail, live beras, but also outside some kois. And that I found also was really interesting. When you have, for example, 2 bottles of brine shrimp, and sometimes you miss which one I have to take next time, because sometimes they look really similar. Just this small pointer, and when you take one, turn it off, and next day you easily know which one you have to use. Smart, simple, cheap, but works fine. Yeah, filtration also, we know all these bubble filters. He has also used several different of them. Yeah, Peter D'Souza from Hamilton, close by Toronto. He is more with fish like bettas and also some of the line bred bettas has a good selection, but also these killies. And you can see here, here has these small bettas in. Also here some more. And here's also a really, really interesting variation of these different ones. And yeah, he's also spawned this Beta albumarolato, something. Yeah. And he explained me it's not so really difficult to do this. You just have to realize you need a low pH, and then it's not so really complicated. When you try it with a too high pH, you can do whatever you want, it won't work. Yeah, let's come to the small countries that maybe one or the other of you could know. I visited some years ago Ruben Lugo. He has lived at that time in the Bronx. I think now he has moved to Florida. Typical tiny basement in the Bronx in New York City. And yeah, what you have here all was for me interesting. I've never expected to see, especially for plecos, so many so high tanks. Germany, we have tanks maybe half of this height because the plecos don't use it. And he's a pleco breeder. I've seen, at least from Zoom, there's a low boy tank or whatever. I think that sizes for plecos much better than these high tanks because you can stand on this place. 2 smaller tanks, 2 lower high tanks, and keep more plecos.
Did he have an explanation of why the high tank?
I think it's just it's maybe easy to get here. Maybe he's got them from a clearance or whatever. I think that's the reason why many people have these high tanks. What I found really funny, in a fish room, never seen a smoke detector because I don't expect any fire in a fish room. In the rooms around, of course, but in the fish room.
My fish store burned down last month.
Okay, I understand now. I'm sorry for that.
It's okay.
I don't want to blame you.
No, you should actually.
Yeah, here's also really nice fish there, especially Panacolos Clustellifer 306. Yeah, I have really to say that is, in my opinion, one of the most colorful Panacolos in the wild. They can be fresh caught, really reddish orange from the coloration with the chocolate brown. Absolutely stunning fish. A little bit different was it is Artie Platt. He is from Mount Vernon, also New York City, and this is outside his place there. And this is his basement. It was incredible, especially when he looked at his bathroom. It's really interesting to sit there. I don't know if all the fish will like it, but it's really fantastic.
Where you're going if you don't
Does the water level change in the tank?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we go a little bit more in the south. We go to Eric and Regina, and in Monongahela, of course, not to forget Mackenzie. And with them, it's an absolutely fantastic couple. They both have their own fish rooms, and maybe I've heard one of their talk. He says, she says, and so that is also in real life sometimes with them. Sometimes this is Regina in her fish room, And then sometimes Eric is looking, what she's doing there, what kind of fish she has, do I need something, and so on. And it's absolutely funny, but yeah, they're really good together, but it's absolutely funny. This is her second room. It's a little bit colder for some species that need it colder. This main room, she has here fish yeah, several corridors, other catfish, this spirulina. And for her, it's important if she see any fish and hears no one was able to breed them, I need them. And then she works until she got them and until they have spawned. That's really interesting with her, and yeah, mostly she was successful. Eric in front of his corridors, yeah, that's called a breeding installation. It's also interesting to see. He has here, I think it's 4 or 5 tanks next to each other, 3 above, 3 rows, and here's a filter sump. And he's pumping the water from here to here, and by overflow it's go to this tank and to this tank. So if any of the corridors start to spawn, they give also some hormones or whatever stuff away, and so some others feel then also being triggered and start also to spawn. So it's a really cool and clever way, and here's also spawns. There are several more corridors, but of course he has some more place to raise them up. Here's also in together 2 rooms, and often I see him in this place, these places, you can see it here a little bit better, also for the corridors, these hiding places. They can swim around, sometimes they sit here on the top, but when they feel disturbed, they like to be protected from the surface. They go under this and sitting there really with calm and have a look, but feel really well. So it's really good for the fish being protected from the surface. Yeah, that is some blackworms he feeds often. And yeah, his brine shrimps, yeah, it's a little bit bigger like usual. It's this big, what is this, 20 gallon?
5 gallons.
This 5-gallon bag, bottles that he use for water, sometimes in offices and so on. He use it for brine shrimp. So not many people use as much of brine shrimp like him, but okay, he has a lot of tanks and need it. This was also inspiration to me. In former time, I just have all my aquarium stuff in some boxes running around. Then I bought some nice closets and put all of them there in, because it's really good. Looks much cleaner. You find it much easier instead of having all of them in a box. Yeah, you just to learn. And that was for me absolutely great. In Germany, we don't use these turkey basters, and they're extremely cool in the hobby. Even when you want to bring youngsters, pleco youngsters out of the cave, because just put them with water and pump them or spray them out. If you need these strong injectors from hospital, the water flow is much too hard and you can hurt the youngsters. With a turkey baster, no problem. You can clean tanks and whatever. So I think they're absolutely great and useful. I bought immediately 2 or 3 of them and brought them over to home. I won't ever miss them in my fish room. That's something. Thank you, USA. I got them from here and helped me a lot.
We're known for turkey bait.
Yeah, we don't have to do much with turkey, and it's uncommon in Germany. I didn't find them in our place.
See that closet, Rich?
Yeah, is that hint, Rod?
Yeah, some of his fish, mostly of course catfish, but also some rainbows. This is corridors with the money. He has got one albino also found there, corridors gracilis. And this fish was also really funny. It's A494, the Pecolsia, and it's a nice story. The fish were coming from Germany. Aqua Global, the German wholesaler, has imported them, and they have sold just some of them. And I think Eric or Stefan Tanner has bought some of them, brought over them to the US, and in Germany they were completely gone. No one else had them. Then we have seen some pictures of Eric or Stefan and realized, oh, pretty nice fish. In the meantime, we have re-imported them from the US back to Germany. And now they are also established in our place. We have also some youngsters of them in the meantime. And so sometimes it's so funny. Fish from Germany, not so nice. We don't need them. You see them in the other country and realize, hey, cool fish. And yeah, then we have imported them back. Yeah, this guy is also really important. It's a big rich. I don't know if I have a picture of him, but I thought this car is also nice to show. And he is a higher fish rescue. He picks up really lots of these fish. They are too big for the usual tanks.
Is that a BMW?
Not exactly. I think it's more an American car. Yeah, you see a small selection of this fish that he has, and yeah, I've seen also here in some shops some of these fish, like this tiger nose, like them here, tigrinos and whatever. I don't understand why they will be sold in the fish trade, because not really many people can keep them in tanks in a good size, and so it's fine to have people like Big Rich. This is a guy that take care for them and try to find other places. Maybe you've seen on on YouTube also the video. He has a swimming pool and has converted his swimming pool to a big pond with 7,000 gallon water, and it's really several thousand. And yeah, unfortunately, his wife has big health problems, and it was incredible. I always thought he is such a guy, so cool, and baby, go away. I'm the cool boy. That how he takes care for Tracy is really impressive. Never. So the first impression from him was really, yeah, such a cool guy, and oh no, not my problem, and I'm cooler as everyone else. But how he takes care for her, wow, really impressive. What he's doing, that's really love. Yeah, let's have a look to Germany. Some of the old breeders from Eastern Germany. Rainer Köhler aus the well-known city Fraureuth. Everyone should know it. Yeah, he's a small and fine installation. He's breeding several of these lanceolata or some of this electric blue rams. You can see he's really breeding them really good, raising up until they got the right size, and then is selling them. But also angelfish. You can see his facility for the brine shrimp. And he starts with these small tanks with the youngsters. Every day he makes some water changing, take care for it, have a look if there are some dead ones in, and it's really the old-fashioned way how to breed fish. This is a guy also from Saxonia, Lutz Lieder, and yeah, without that wheat beer you can't meet him anywhere. Just if you have to drive too long, then you can't drink beer, but then other times, yeah, his shop is pretty nice. All tanks have a lot of plants, and when we have a look in some of these tanks, he has, yeah, this is a allocator. This is a pretty old one. It's about 22 years old. That's the reason why it looks so bad. It's not, it's just old. And he just keeps them, he keeps it as long as it lives. He don't want to kill it, but just give him some food and let him swim around. And yeah, really a great installation. Also in his selling tanks, he has spawned several of the apistogramma.
What's the top?
This one?
The black and white one.
This is Alvana Cara. Then this is Nanacara anomala, and this is Nanacara atopeta. Yeah. And this is Apistogramma Hungsloi, I think. And this should be Agassizi fire red. Yeah, several other fish, and this was interesting. Just in the keeping tank, they have spawn and take care for the youngsters, and that happens in many of his tanks. Also here's the female with some youngsters, that is Apistogramma trifasciata. Really interesting to see. Robert Budowkan, maybe you have heard the name, maybe L236 RB line, means Robert Budowkan line. So the black and white Hypercystus, it's a line bred based on him. He is trying to make them as white as possible. And when you have a look in installation, it's not so really big. It's just the 136 in these 6 tanks. And so you can also doing a good line breed without a huge installation. It works when you just concentrate yourself on this species and work good with the species. You don't need much space. Raising up, he is doing them often in mixed tanks. Like you can see here also, there are some examples. In the meantime, they are much whiter than your versions. And to raise up, he has sometimes often several layers of slate and some spacers in between, and the spacer have different heights. So the smaller ones, the youngsters, can go in the thinner places, and the bigger ones can't follow them. They are protected against them. It's a good idea and works well. You can also raise on several hypercystus together. Just keep an eye on it. If they are too large, they can reproduce them with each other. So when they get fertile and fertile, you have to divide them. Otherwise, you get hybrids, and that's something what we all don't want. Yeah, I think close to the last, that guy, most of you will know, Hans Evers. He's coming from Hamburg, and often when you go to his place, you get as first present a pretty nice ice cold beer, like here too. This is one of his display tanks, and he has some more of the smaller tanks. He mostly has corridors, but also rainbows. He's often been in Sulawesi and also Australia, and have a look for several rainbows. It's also another passion of him. But what not many people know about him, this is one of his oldest fish. Hypercystus zebra he has for many years, and breeds them also for many years. And not many people have thought about it, because usually he stands for this fancy new corridors, but that he has these really old-fashioned fish for a long time was not really to expect. And here it's also nice to see this corridors pantanalensis, that the female and the male are really different in the coloration, the pattern. Not many corridors have this. Yeah, and that should be, but such a talk wasn't able to give this all without the support from all the people that I was able to visit, that helped me to identify some fish, the clubs that have invited me to come over, and so big thank you to all that has helped to make this talk possible. And that should be, but one small thing I still have. We have a small convention usually every 2 years in Hanover, Germany. It's called the Elmer Days. We give there several talks. All talks are in German and in English, so all people can understand the talks. We have Leandro Sousa, the guy, the professor from the Real Xingu, again there. We have Norman Baer, a guy with a high knowledge about Loricaridae there. Several people more, Ingo Seidel, Jos Borcherding, he has spawned several Lasiancistros and other interesting fish. And if one or the other of you could be interested in to visit us there, you're all welcome. If you have any questions about the convention, about the talk, about me, whatever, I don't run away. So my driver's still here, so I can't escape. So come over and ask me questions. And if you're interested in, I have also some of my nice art prints with me. You can keep an eye on it. But I think you have soon the auction, and maybe it's more interesting for you to get new and cool fish. So, yeah, thank you for everything, and I hope you enjoyed the talk.
Thank you very much, Andy. That was an amazing talk. Any questions?
I was just going to comment on your L number conference. I was looking at it online. It's on YouTube, and they're panning the audience, and I'm like, wait a minute, I recognize that guy. And Steve Lundblad, who owns Cichlid Exchange in the wet spot in Oregon, in Portland, was in the audience. So I was like, that guy's everywhere. He's like Gilroy or something.
Yeah, so Steve has also signs that he will be there. Also, Stefan Tanner from Swiss Tropical. He's also one of the translators for the talks, that all people can really understand it. And so the German speaker will be translated to English, and the English speaker will be translated to German. All 2-3 sentences, then we will translate it. Sometimes it works not so good, because we had an Austrian guy, Walter Lechner. He's given his talk. Started in German, the translator translated to English. Walter continued in English, the translator translated to German. And after a while, Walter was speaking English, and the translator translated to English. And someone else in the audience mean, hey, at least one of you guys, please speak German. But it's, the knowledge is high, but also the fun is not too short, because just staying around, hanging around, and boring talks makes no fun. And so it's a good mixture between those.
Awesome.
Eric?
As a side note, by the way, thank you, Andy. That was wonderful. So you mentioned Eric Bodrock and Regina Spotty. We had Eric here in our club a couple of years ago. Regina's coming to our club in December, so don't miss that. And she will tell you about all the fish she steals out of his tanks, and she will tell you all of her fish that he steals out of her tanks. As you said, they take each other's fish.
Yeah. It's pretty nice with them.
Any other questions? If not, we're going to take a few minutes break, and then we'll be right back to the auction. Thank you again, Andy. That was a really great talk. Thank you so much.
So we took a donation
Make a turkey mixture with a no drip, so that way you can walk around and not like
and now it's going to be out of my house. I would say
One time I had a tequila out of that.
Sell this one. It's her.
So I just popped it up in the corner. And they ate it all at
wait, hold on.
I know.
Thank you.
We can decide again. And all these lights right here.
I think X-ray.
I see everything had been shut down. I see my okay.
No, not that.
He's already out. That was not an effort. I went last week. To make it work.
Different from the prices?
Yes.
Oh, you like showed up, did the 100% frames, and then.
No, the petrol.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
It's all matching up pretty well in my head.
yeah, but sat down with Rupa, so that says that she's also she had also a really nice conductor.
Jessica. Okay, we were talking about
They're not as pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's there's many fish.
Really good. It's like a second size. Yeah, it's tomorrow. You're pulling me up. I didn't oversaw some. Yeah. Sunshine, like within a couple hours. Yeah. Conditioning mind. Yeah, you can do really
I have one.